Hello and welcome back to Make It Happen today. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about building your career or building your online presence. So whether you are a business owner or whether you are somebody that is employed by a company, I want to talk about different ways of looking at your social media. Now, what does your social media have to do with being employed or running a business? Quite a lot, actually. Now, according to a Career Builder survey done in 2018, 70% of employers use social media to screen candidates during a hiring process. And 43% of employers use social media to check on current employees. So those are quite high stats. And I have to be honest, I have hired staff in the past, and I have also looked at their social media to see what they have going on. And when I talk about social media, I don't just mean LinkedIn, which is your professional profile. I'm talking about Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Employers look at all of them. And so it's really, really important to consider what you put out there, and also consider maybe whether your profiles are open or private as well, because obviously there is that saying, what you put out there is out there forever on the web. So we know that as a life skill anyway. If you're putting up inappropriate stuff, somebody's going to find it at some point. You know, you see all these politicians and they've done something in their past, or somebody famous has made a tweet when they were 15 and it's come back to haunt them when they're 30. So just as a life skill, it's always very important to think about these things. And I know that during my divorce, I put something out there and my friend came to me and he's like, Claire, you really, keep your stuff private. You don't need to tell the world. And honestly, he was right. I did it in anger. I was so frustrated with something, and I was so tired of hiding all of the stuff that I was going through that I put something out there. And now it's out there forever. So it's just something to kind of think about. But when it comes to bringing it back to kind of employment as well, everything you put out there is a person you're presenting to the world. So if you have your profiles open, everything you put out there is findable by somebody. So if you're going for a top lawyer position, or if you're going for a doctor's position and yet you're seen doing, half naked pole dances, then maybe the employer's not going to be so impressed by that. If you are, I don't know, but if you're putting out there slagging off your kids, we work days that we just hate our kids, they're driving us insane, they're causing so much stress and anxiety, they're not doing what they should be doing. Life is crazy. There's food everywhere. There's clothes everywhere. And then you're going to be applying to work in childcare or as a nanny. Then people are going to find that. They're going to search your name. They're going to look at your friends. They're going to look at what you've been doing, where you've been going. And so it's just really, really important to one, start thinking about the upcoming things that you post. And perhaps if you're going through an employment stage right now, so if you're looking for a new job, maybe just take half an hour and do a little audit of your social media. So go through the posts that you've put up, go through the about section on Facebook. So if we look at Facebook, there's an about section. Have a look at that. Put in there what you like, companies you follow. So kind of make it like a bit of a professional portfolio. Even if that's not something you would usually do, start following the company that you are applying for jobs. If they have a Facebook page, start following maybe some news channels, something that shows that you are interested in the career that you're going for. Or if you're looking for a job at Tesco's, follow Tesco's, follow similar companies to that. Maybe you're looking to work in a clothes shop, perhaps start liking some similar clothes shops on Facebook. Have a look at the profile, the about us, and say, okay, what do I want to put out there? Do I want to put that I I'm a mother? Do I want to put that I have a relationship? Do I want to put my schooling in there? You know, you can put links to what schools you've gone to. You can put your hobbies in there. There's lots of things that builds up this online profile about you, that if you have an open profile, and I don't because of my divorce, so my profile's private, but if you have an open profile, there's simple things that you can do that would make it easier for an employer to build up a picture of who you are. Because don't forget, especially these days, there's hundreds of people going for the same job. So if you get your CV pulled out, they're then going to go and look online and see what they can find about you before they interview you. So those things are really important. And then have a look through your posts. So I always think, and my grandma's passed away, but I always think, would my grandma be proud of the things that I put up there? Or would she be ashamed of me? And it sounds so stupid, but if I would be embarrassed for my grandma to see that, had she, or is she still alive, then I won't put that up. And I know that the divorce post I posted, she probably wouldn't be so proud. It wasn't my finest moment to air my dirty laundry. But everything else I post, I'm confident that she would be proud of the things that I put out there. So maybe think about that. You know, what would you think if your kids saw that, or a family member saw that, or your employer saw that? And if you're not quite sure that you want them to see that, or build that as part of your picture, take it down, make it inactive, hide it, whatever you need to do, take it down. And Instagram is slightly different because, of course, you only have a little bio there. So it's not very much to build your profile, but have a look through the photos that you have and just see, just see if there's anything that might cause an employer to think twice about the person that you are. And you might be out there and bubbly and love your social life, and that's great. And people are happy with that. Obviously, that's the age that we're in. There's so much socializing. Mine is filled with that, or my kids, because traveling's off the picture, so that's not in my profile for the last 2 years. But just go through your posts and see, am I happy for these to be out there? Am I happy for my employers to see this as who I am? And again, if you're not happy with that and you're not proud of that, take them down, make them inactive, hide them, whatever you need to do. Twitter, I'm not massive on. I have an account. I've probably made 10 posts in my life, or liked stuff or followed stuff. But again, go through, is there any retweets that you've done that perhaps you shouldn't, or any comments you've made perhaps you shouldn't? Just take an hour and just audit each one, is my advice. A part of this study that I found, these are the types of things that have come up through social media and left employers with a bad impression of that candidate, and potentially have hindered them getting a job. So the number one, at 40%, a job candidate posted provocative or inappropriate photographs, videos, or information. Number two, there's 11 of these. So the job candidate posted information about them drinking or using drugs. I mean, I'm probably guilty of the drinking, to be fair. I post a few photos of my cocktails in my bar, but in an appropriate level. I think it's not every day, or it's not every week. Job candidate has discriminatory comments related to race, gender, and religion. And I think that's the one that's come back to bite some of the celebs and the politicians in the past. Job candidate was linked to criminal behaviour. Job candidate lied about their qualifications, had poor communication skills, had badmouthed their previous company or fellow employees. 25% of candidates have been found to do that. So that's really a high number, actually. And I know it's really, really difficult when you're having a bad time at work, and when you're having, disagreements with your employer or with your colleagues. It's so hard to not want to talk about that. I get it. I vent at home and things like that. And I talked a little while ago, I did a little video on social media about why I'd left a job, but it wasn't bad mouthing the company or the colleagues specifically. It was more, this is so stressful for me. It's a difference of opinions, and therefore I'm bowing out. So it's just, if you want to say something, just be careful how you say it, because there's also a saying that don't burn your bridges on the way up, because you don't know who you're going to need on the way back down. And I think that's really, really important to remember. You never know when you might need help from somebody. You never know when you might need a reference, and you've put it, you know, all over Twitter how much you hate whatever company it is. The new employers are going to find that. And if you're bad mouthing the old company, that's going to leave a bad taste for them when you go to work for them. What if something doesn't work out? What if there's a difference of opinion? What if something terrible happens and you leave, and then the next minute you're all over social media? So that's just something to think about as well. And then the last 4, the candidate's screen name was unprofessional. I've seen this actually. My sister had a crazy email, I think, when she was like 18. And so luckily she's changed it. I'm not going to put it out there what it was, but she had a crazy email. It was funny, but it's not funny when you're going for a job. It's just funny when it's your mates. So when she started looking for new jobs, she changed her email address very quickly. So just think about that on your any of your handles that you have across social media. If you've got something that might be inappropriate, perhaps have a look at making a change of that. And I can think of loads of that would be really funny. But if your imagination runs with you and you just think, oh my God, these are things I could have, just think again. And, you know, what about in 10 years when your kids are on social media and they're like, Mummy, what was you thinking with that username? I mean, just it's getting harder as the time goes on because so many usernames are taken, but maybe add some special characters or add some numbers or something like that. Just think very carefully about your screen name or your username. The job candidate shared confidential information with previous employers, that's 20%. They lied about an absence, 16%. I mean, you're going to get caught out. If you tell them that you're sick and you next check it into an airport, it's not going to go down so well. And this one's a bit of a weird one. The job candidate posted too frequently, 12%. So I suppose you could take that with a little bit of pinch of salt. I suppose it depends on, you know, are you posting at 10 in the morning and again at 12 and again at 2 and again at 3, and you're supposed to be working and your job isn't a social media manager, then that could come up. But posting too frequently, it just depends, in my opinion, on that one, whether that's important and relevant. So just think about that as well. If you're supposed to be at work and not on your phone, if you're sitting on the tills at Asda or you're working at New Look, or you're supposed to be, you know, building your own, well, if it's your own business, who cares, right? You can do whatever the hell you want to do with your time. But if you're employed, just think about that as well. If you're telling your on your CV and telling your new employer that you work full time, and yet they see you posting all hours of the day, that's going to be something that they're going to think about as well. So those were just the 11 things that came up, and of things to think about as well when you're looking over your social media profile, and just to see what do you need to change and what might help you. And the final one that I only just touched on, but I'm going to come on in a more in-depth on another episode, but it's LinkedIn. So I'm going to try and do a full episode to help everybody with LinkedIn, and perhaps provide a bit of a PDF guide as well to help people with LinkedIn, because I do think that for a lot of people, LinkedIn is undervalued and underrated. And honestly, it's the new online CV. So of course you're going to have your own CV, and I'll try and cover that in another episode as well, of what you should and shouldn't include. And again, I'll try and do like a little PDF document that you can download that will help you in the layout of your CV if you need it, and what's important to include. But when it comes to LinkedIn, I always consider LinkedIn as an online CV. So it's really easy for employers to go and build up a better picture of your history of employment. And not only that, LinkedIn is a great source of looking for new jobs as well. So a lot of people don't think to look at LinkedIn and see what jobs are available, but honestly, it's really a great place to go. They have thousands of jobs listed on there. There's the usual companies like Indeed and Reed and stuff like that you can go to online, but build up your online profile on LinkedIn and then go to the jobs section and have a look at what's suitable. And there's lots of different filters that you can find to see what's available. So the basics of LinkedIn, make sure you have a great photo. So your photo is the one thing that they see. Don't have a logo, don't have you and your kids, don't have your dog, have your headshot. Your headshot, nice, clean, clear, this is who I am. This isn't me whipping it up on a bar. No, this is me, work, professional. I'm here to be professional. I'm here for business. No matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what industry, it doesn't matter what job you're looking for. It doesn't matter if you're running your own business. It's super, super important. People are visual. They're visual. They want to see who they're doing business with. They want to see who they're speaking to. So make sure you've got a really great photo. You have the opportunity to list all of your career history, so all of your jobs. And don't just list, I keep using New Look and Tesco's as an example, but don't just say, I worked in New Look. What did you do in New Look? List as many things as you can think of. I worked the tills. No, you didn't just work the tills. You were the cashier, you were customer service facing, you cashed up at the end of the day, you did restock fulfillment, you worked in the warehouse doing, I forget the name of it, stock taking, assisting with a weekly stock take, refilling the shelves and the racks, dealing with customer inquiries, processing customer complaints. There's tons of stuff actually that you can list. I am very fussy with, I have a lot of LinkedIn connections. I've been in business for my current industry for 15 years. So I have a lot of connections on LinkedIn. But I am picky, regardless of how many connections I have. I am very picky. And I don't like to accept people if they just list their company. I don't like to do that and accept them. I want to know, what do they do in that company? I want to know what the company does. If you've just got a random company name and no link to the company, and I don't know what the company does, I don't know what you do, how do I know if I want to connect with you? How do I know if you're interesting to me and there's going to be an opportunity to work together or like have a conversation about something if you're giving me nothing? So you've just got a picture of a logo, you've got a picture of your dog, you've listed 3 companies, you've got I know where in the world you're based because that's what you have on your LinkedIn, but I don't know anything else. Your profile's not interesting to me. I have no idea why you want to connect with me. What do you want out of this? So make sure you detail out the things that you do in each role. And then have a look at there's an education section as well. So make sure that you add in there your education. And again, like I talked about with Facebook, look at your likes. So like and follow companies that are relevant to you in what you want to do. If you're building your own business, like and look at the similar businesses to you. Or like and follow potential customers. People that you want to do business with, like and follow them. That's really important. And lastly, if you're wanting to do business with specific people or specific companies, hunt them down on LinkedIn. So hunt them down, look for them, find their HR manager and send a connection with a personalized note. Don't just send a connection, with a personalized note. Hi, I'm very interested in your company. It's really a company that I would love to see if there's a business opportunity or job opening. Please, would you connect with me and let me know where I can send my CV? what is it? It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't cost you anything. And it saves you going all around the houses trying to, you know, send your CV in with thousands of other through a job advert you found on indeed.com or indeed.co.uk, whatever the website is. Coming in through LinkedIn shows initiative, shows that you know what you're doing and you're not afraid to go and try and get what you want. So it's a massive tip. And I found a few staff through LinkedIn actually, and I hunted them down. They hadn't applied to any position I put out there. They hadn't sent me a CV, but I looked up through skill sets and things like that. So try and build up your skills and get people to endorse you, maybe get your employer to put a reference, or somebody a client, put a reference up there for you. I've done some for people in the past, and it's really a great thing to have on your LinkedIn profile. But yeah, I have hunted staff and actually poached them from other companies as well. And that's because their LinkedIn profile was filled with everything that I needed to see. It was filled with all the information that I needed to see what they were doing in each role. I looked at their likes, I looked at the companies they followed, and I approached them to see if they were interested to work for me and managed to poach them away from their companies. So that can happen to you as well if you build your profile right. If you're building your presence right, you have the opportunity to start being headhunted by companies. So it's really, really important. I know I've just spent 10 minutes talking about LinkedIn and how to improve that, and that's one element that's incredibly important. Don't forget the other social medias as well. Do some housekeeping. Make sure that your nan or your granny or your kids would be proud of the things that you're putting out there. That's my number one takeaway from today. So make sure your LinkedIn looks like an online profile, and make sure, make sure like it look like an online CV, and make sure that your social media is something you can be proud of, particularly if it's open. If it's private, right? So unless you add your employer onto your profile, it's going to be private. But if you have a public profile on any of the channels, make sure it's something that you would be proud of, nothing you would be ashamed of, nothing your kids would, your granny would, and nothing that's going to stop you getting the job that you want. It's incredibly important to think about these things in this day and age. So I think I've covered all of the basics that I wanted to share with you today and things that I wanted to talk to you about today. I will, in the upcoming episodes, talk a little bit more about LinkedIn and your CV building as well, just to try and help. And I'll try and put out some guides alongside those episodes. So thank you for listening. And I hope you found it really helpful. Gives you some ideas of things to work on, and I will speak to you soon. Thanks very much.